This is problem 2 for hyperbola. So there is two radio stations which are located 150 miles apart, where station A is west of station B, and radio signals are being transmitted simultaneously by both stations, traveling at rate of 0.2 miles per microsecond. And let's say there is a plane traveling at 60 miles above ground level, which has just passed by station B and is headed towards the other station. If the signal from B arrives at plane 480 microsecond before the signal sent from A, determine the location of the plane. So, problems like this, usually problems for hyperbola are connected with the system which we call LORAN system, Long Range Navigation System. So, they are used in locating planes or ships while traveling across yung uh, malalayong distances. And then, the use of hyperbola here, di ba, each station has their uh, signal. So, yung signal natin, they are coming like waves. So, those waves are actually forming the curve of the hyperbola. So, yun talaga yung pinaka nagiging application ng hyperbola natin. So, in the problem, let us identify the measurements given. We have here 150 miles apart, so that is talking about the distance between A and B. And it is stated that A is west of B. So therefore, if we graph it, if we graph that in the Cartesian plane, so let's say we have the x-axis, and then we have the y-axis here. If we put here station A, okay, so therefore our station B is right here, okay, on the right side. And then again, knowing that they are 150 feet apart from each other, meaning this is 75, this can be negative 75, and this will be positive 75. So that is to form a total of 150 miles in between A and B. Okay, so since ginrap natin siya in the Cartesian plane. And then another unit here is the rate, which is 0.2 miles per microsecond. And then the speed, which is 400, or the time, which is 480 microseconds. So this is the time of arrival ng signal from at that station to the plane. So 480 microsecond. And then we have here 60 miles above the ground. So let's say these are your stations A and B. X-axis will serve as the ground. So meaning we have here a particular height of 60. So that is yung height ng ating plane. But our plane is hindi pa natin alam yung exact location. So magbase tayo dun sa mga details in the problem. Sabi daw dito, mas mauuna daw mag-arrive yung signal or from B, okay, compared to A. So, between the two divisions here, this is, for say this is the boundary of B and this is the boundary of A, mas nandito siya sa boundary ng B kasi mas mauunang ma-receive dito yung ating signal. So, linawan lang natin tong part na to. Okay. So, let's say we have here, again, this is 75, and then this is your station B. So, somewhere here at this boundary, nandito yung ating plane. So, let's say, itapat natin siya dito. So, that is 60 miles above the ground. Okay, so kaya siya katapat ng 60. And it is somewhere near station B. Okay, so yung ating signal, of course, ganyan yung kanyang pattern up until ma-reach na yung curve doon. So, let's draw the hyperbola here. Let's say, approximately, ganito kunwari yung itsura niya. Okay. Kunwari, ganyan. So, on the other side, meron din siyang kapartner. Okay, yung kabilang curve. So, your hyperbola has horizontal transverse axis. Okay, so these are your curves. Now, remember in the definition of hyperbola, sabi daw doon, hyperbola is a conic section whereas there is a constant difference. So, yung difference na tinutukoy doon, if you locate one point in the curve, in the hyperbola itself, and then the distance here, okay, the difference of the distance here from 2 points, okay, is actually, that distance is actually equal to the constant distance in your hyperbola, which is we are pertaining to your A, your vertices. So you have D is equal to 2A. That is the relationship, okay, supported by the definition of hyperbola. So ibig sabihin, we can compute this distance, this particular difference of distance, by using the time and the rate given. We all know that the distance formula is D equals rate times time. So we can solve for the distance by multiplying the rate of 0.2 times the distance or the time, which is 480 microseconds. So this is 0.2 miles over microsecond times 480 microseconds. So makakancel yung microsecond. 0.2 times 480 is actually 96. The unit now will be miles. So the distance is 96 miles. Again, if D is equal to 2A, we can get A, which is a definite variable in our hyperbola. Diba? This is a variable na present in the hyperbola that pertains to your vertices. So if the distance is 96, we will equate 2A with 96. Okay, since D is equal to 96, and therefore we will get the value of A as 48. Okay, 48 miles. So our A now is 48. So meaning, from the center, the distance of your vertices are 48 on the left side, 48 on the right side. Okay, the constant distance is 96 miles. So we have here A, and we can also use this point, itong 75 natin, as C. Since diba collinear yung ating A and C. So, we have C as 75. So, one missing value here is the point vertical, which is yung ating B. So, to solve for B, we can apply the formula that is standard for hyperbola. That is, the formula C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So, to get our B, we will use this formula. So, substitute lang natin yung meron tayong values. Our C is 75. So, we write 75 squared is equal to, our A is 48. So, we write 48 squared plus B squared. And then, our 75 squared, let us rewrite first. Rewrite natin siya. So, we are solving for B. We write here B squared is equal to 75 squared minus 48 squared. Okay, B squared is equal to 75. Nilipat natin kaya naging minus. Minus 48 squared. So, 75 squared is actually equal to 5,625, and 48 squared is equal to 2,304. So, minus 2,304. And therefore, we get B squared as 3,321. And therefore, to get the value of B, just to get the value of B, we get the square root of this. Our B now is equal to 57.62. This is the value of B now. Okay? So, let's write here, 57.62 is the distance for the co-vertices of this hyperbola, for this figure. Now, ang tinatanong sa atin ngayon, why do we solve for this? Kasi ang tinatanong po sa atin ngayon ay determine the location of the plane. Remember, the plane is here, di ba? That is 60 miles above the ground. So, we know its y coordinate, that is 60. However, for the x coordinate, we are uncertain. Kasi hindi naman siya sinabi na kapantay siya ng vertices. Di naman sinabi na kapantay siya ng foci. Walang sinabi. So, we write here x for the meantime. So, the x coordinate for the plane is unknown pa. So, to solve for this, of course, that is part of your hyperbola. You need to give a defining equation for this figure. This is a hyperbola with horizontal transverse axis. So, therefore, its equation is x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared is equal to 1. Okay? So, the reason why we solve for b, kasi that is present in your standard form of equation. Okay? That is a need. Okay? So, in this equation, we are to solve for the value of x. Since we have y coordinate, we can substitute that to y. And we also have the values of a and b. Okay? A is solved through this formula and b is solved through the formula of the hyperbola. Okay? For c squared. So, we substitute that. Let's say we are solving for the coordinate x, comma 60, which is part of the hyperbola that we have. So, x squared is unknown. A squared, look at this, a squared is 2,304. So, we have 2,304 minus y squared is given. So, we have 60 quantity squared over b squared. Remember, that's from 3,321 equals 1. Okay? So, we are solving for x. So, i-isolate natin siya. So, we have x squared over 2,304. And then, this is equal to 1. Itong 1 na to. And then, transpose natin. This will be plus 60 squared is actually 3,000, 3,600. So, 3,600 over 3,321. Okay? So, ito na yung ating solution. And then, let's proceed. I-solve lang natin to. For this computation, magkakaroon kayo, there are cases na magkakaroon ng different answers. It depends on how you solve or how you input this in your calculator. In normal cases, it is advisable na i-type siya dire-diretso up until the end, until the answer. Okay? In that case, maiiwasan natin mag-estimate or mag-round off ng palaki yung value niya or paliit. Okay? It depends on how we rounded off the number. But still, there are cases naman na hindi naman natin talaga siya kaya i-type, lalo na kapag hindi naman scientific calculator yung gamit natin. So, in my case, if I used cellphone lang, I'll be rounding off these numbers into 2 decimal places. So, if there is a strict rule like that, we'll end at the same answer kung laging round off by 2 lang yung ginagawa natin. So, every solution round off by 2. But, again, there is a small difference. So, that's why in the end, we'll be writing the value as approximates lang. Kasi, yun nga, magkaiba yung pagta-type in the calculator, magkaiba yung pagsosolve. There is a small margin of error that is present. Okay? So, in this case, ang ginawa ko sa kanya ay sinolve ko muna to in the calculator, itong side na to. So, I had x squared over 2,304 is equal to, this is equal to 2.08. Okay, that's rounded off. And then, multiplying this, both sides, by 2,304 to isolate yung ating numerator. So, makakancel siya. Our x squared, I'll be continuing the solution on this side. Okay, continue ko lang siya dito. Hindi na kasi kasya. Okay, so, cancel siya. We'll be having x squared na lang. Okay, and then this side, the right side, that is 2.08 times 2,304. That will be x squared is equal to 4,792. 4,792.32. This is also rounded off. And then to get the value of x, we'll be getting the square root. Our x now is approximately equal to 69.22. This is my answer because I'm continuously rounding off. But in other cases, kung dire-diretso nyo siyang tinype, upon typing this in the calculator, hindi kayo nag-stop, you continue multiplying it by 2,304 and then diretso square root, probably your answer will be 69.29. So, we are talking about miles. In the real scenario, medyo malaki na din yun. Malaking distance na din yung 0.7. Okay? But again, still, this is approximates. Okay? So, since we are holding a big number. So x is approximately 69.22. So therefore, the coordinate here will be 69.22, 60. That is the location of your plane. So if we answer the problem, we'll be saying that the plane is 69.22 miles east and 60 miles west. Okay, or the plane is located at 69.22, 60. Okay, that will be accepted. Okay, so the plane is in the Cartesian plane, the plane is located at 69.22, 60, or the plane is 69.22 miles east and 60 miles sorry, that's not west, 60 miles north, 60 miles north. Okay, so that will be our answer. So quick recap, our problem is about the plane which is traveling. Okay, and there is two stations named A and B with 150 miles apart each other. So that's why nagkaroon tayo ng 75-75. It is stated in the problem that the plane is 60 miles above the ground. So assuming that the ground is the x-axis, that's why we have here 60. So the plane is somewhere near B. So that's why nagpoint tayo dyan. That's approximate lang. Assumption lang siya. Nagpoint tayo dito sa boundary ng B, giving it the coordinate x, 60. So, bakit siya sa B nilagay? It is stated in the problem that the signal will arrive first at B before it arrive at A. So, ibig sabihin, mas malapit siya dun sa B. Okay? And then, solving this figure, so kaya siya ay ganyan, yung ating curve ng hyperbola, that's a representation of the signal, yung wave ng signal. I know you're familiar with that. Yung parang sa Wi-Fi, 'di ba parang wave siya. So ito yung curve niya. This is from signal from B, okay? So to compute the distance, we have rate times time. So the given rate is 0.2 and then the time of arrival for those signals is 480 microseconds. So yun yung difference nung distance, nung time nila. So we have the distance which is equal to 96 miles. So that is connecting to the characteristic of hyperbola, that is equal to 2a. Okay? So if d is equal to 2a, we therefore solve that a is equal to 48. So if a is 48 and that is also a given, which is c is 75, we now solve for b. Okay? And then having the value for a and b, we now we were able to write the defining equation for the hyperbola that we are that represents the problem. So using the defining equation ito, we substituted x and 60. So that is to solve for the value of x. And therefore, upon getting the approximate value of x, we now get the location of the plane. So the plane is 69.22 miles east and 60 miles north, okay, in the Cartesian plane.